Climate Week NYC is a really important moment to bring people together who are working on climate action. We bring together people from all levels, government ministers, businesses, CEOs, CSOs, people working in the non-profit sector, all of these ideas coming together and really putting their heads together about concrete climate action that we can take. And that's what we need to do to take commitments and turn them into reality. Climate Group have put out a global to-do list, 7 actions that we think could be achieved in the next year before Climate Week NYC next year. The idea is to go from these big 2030, 2050 ideas into specific concrete things that could happen that would really move things along. So as an example, there's a lot of conversation around methane. We think there needs to be a global agency that's actually got the ability to audit and look at methane emissions and to actually have real powers. Similarly, we've got a recommendation about banning the relining of steel blast furnaces, because if you keep relining them, you're committed to using coal for the next 15 years. So these are just a couple of the ideas of how we could really start to move from ambition into action. So one of the 7 actions that we talk about is unleashing renewables. Climate Group does a lot of work through our RE100 campaign, which is a corporate commitment campaign to 100% renewable electricity. Here are companies that want to buy renewable electricity and finding that they can't. And when we have looked into why that is, we find that the biggest barriers are things like permitting, siting, and regulation. There's sort of the nitty-gritty that is stopping renewables getting onto the grid. There's lots of pent-up investment waiting to go if we can deal with those sorts of issues. And we think it needs to be tackled really urgently. So the COPs in the next couple of years are really important. There's a lot of focus at the moment on COP30, which will happen in Belém at the end of next year. And that's because under the Paris Agreement cycle, next year is a critical year where countries come back with their new nationally determined contributions, which say how they're going to keep upping their ambition on climate. So a lot of focus on that, but we're also saying, look, we can't just skip a year and only focus on next year. We need to think about COP29, which is happening in a few weeks' time in Baku in Azerbaijan. The critical conversations around there, the hosts have said, are going to be on climate finance. And we think that's a great topic because it's often been skirted past. We haven't unleashed the money that we need to in order to start really paying and to really help those who are hardest hit by climate change. So COP29, big focus on finance, and then next year will all be about the increased ambition from countries.